Hello everybody, I am Farshad Samani, an assistant professor of the university. Today I am going to talk about shifting of demand curve. As you know, there are many factors that may affect on the decision of consumer to buy something. But when we wanted to draw the demand curve, we consider all factors that affect on demand are constant, holding other factors constant or with the assumption of ceteris paribus. Just price of a good changes. For example, the quantity of demand for the good X depends on the price of it, prices of subsistence goods and services, complementary goods and services, or personal income and other factors. But we consider all factors that affect on demand are constant rather than the price of it. We draw the demand curve as negative, with negative slope, like this, negative slope, demand curve. Here, y-axis as price of it, price the good, and x-axis as quantity of demand for X. This line is demand curve. Just price of it changes and the quantity of demand will change. Quantity of demand for X depends on price of it with assumption of ceteris paribus. In the real life, quantity of demand for X depends on many factors such as price of it, prices of subsistence goods and services, prices of complementary goods and services, personal income, and so on. But here we consider all factors are constant rather than price of it. If the quantity of demand for a good changes because of other factors, not because of the price of it, the demand curve will shift to the right side or the left side. In increase the demand will shift demand curve to the right side from D1 to D2, and in decrease demand will shift demand curve to the left side. If the price of a good changes, we move on the demand curve, along demand curve, above or down. But if other factors change, the demand curve will shift to the right side or the left side. Okay. We hold other factors are constant. For example, price of subsistence good is constant. When we wanted to draw, we wanted to graph this curve, demand curve. Now, assume the price of a subsistence good changes. What will happen for demand curve? Subsistence good. For example, sugar and chocolate are subsistence goods for a person. It means an individual would like to use chocolate instead of sugar. If we consider price of the sugar here and the quantity of demand for sugar in the x-axis, demand curve for sugar has a negative slope. Now we consider in this curve, we consider the price of chocolate is constant. Now we assume the price of chocolate goes up. Price of chocolate goes up. What will happen for demand curve for sugar? Instead of using chocolate, we will buy much more of the sugar. In fact, increase for demand will happen for sugar. So demand curve for sugar will shift to the right side from D1 to D2 because of increasing of price of chocolate as a substituent good. Generally, when the prices of substituent goods increase, the demand curve will shift to the right side, vice versa. When the price of substituent goods decrease, the demand curve will shift to the left side. Prices of substituent goods decrease, demand curve will shift to the left side from D1 to D3. Why? Because when the prices of substituent goods decreases, instead of using this good, we will shift to buy, we will move to buy that good as a substituent good. So demand curve for this good will shift to the left side. Okay. We have three kinds of goods and services based on the relationship between prices of goods, or based on the good that we use instead of each other or we use together. So we have three kinds of goods and services: substituent goods and services, complementary goods and services, and not related to each other. For substituent goods and services, the relationship between price of a good and the quantity of demanded for another good, or demand curve for another good as a substituent good, is a positive relationship. What it means, when the price of a substituent goods increases, we will buy much more of another good. Now we want to discuss about complementary goods and services. For example, here still this is the demand curve for sugar, and we consider tea as complementary good for this good. We use tea and sugar together. What will happen when the price of complementary goods, here tea, increases? What will happen here? When the price of complementary goods, increases, instead of we have to buy less than of complementary goods because it is expensive now, and we use this good with that good. We have to buy less than this good also. So the demand curve will shift to the left side. For example, now we go to the market and we see the price of tea is 2 times. We have to buy less than of tea. So we have not a lot of sugar. we have to buy less than of sugar also. So the demand for the sugar also will decrease. The demand curve will shift to the left side, vice versa. When the price of the complementary goods, prices of complementary goods decrease, the demand curve will shift to the right side from D1 to D3 because we have a lot of money because of decreasing of the price of complementary goods, and we can buy much more of these two complementary goods. Demand curve will shift to the right side. Sorry, here, we rewrite here again, price of X, prices of subscription goods, prices of complementary goods, personal income, taste, and so on. Now we want to explain about the changes of personal income. What will happen when the personal income changes? It depends on the kind of good or a service. If the good is a normal good, when the personal income increases, an individual would like to buy much more of that good. And when the good is inferior good, when the personal income increases, we will buy less than of that good. So, increase of personal income will shift demand curve to the right side, and decreasing in personal income will shift demand curve to the left side for normal good. And for inferior good is opposite. If the good is inferior good, when the personal income increases, we will buy less than of that good. Demand curve will shift to the left side because of increasing of personal income. Increasing of personal income for inferior good. Why? Because when we consider a good as inferior good, it means we don't like it and we had to buy it. Now our income increases, we decide to buy less than of this good that in our mind is a bad good, and we will buy another good that we think it's a better good. So demand curve for this good as an inferior good will shift to the left side because of increasing of personal income. Vice versa, when the personal income decreases and the good is inferior good, demand curve will shift to the right side from D1 to D3. Okay. Also, taste. Another factor that we have been considered as constant is taste. When our desiring for buying something increases, we will buy much more of that good, and demand curve will shift to the right side. And because of, for example, advertising by media, we don't like buy that good, the demand curve will shift to the left side. Also, other factors may change and demand curve will shift to the right side or the left side. Shifting to the right side or the left side in economics called as change in demand. But moving on the demand curve, we say as change in the quantity demanded. Okay. Now we want to explain this phenomena as an equation, by an equation. Consider demand curve, the quantity of demand for X equals to minus 20 px plus, we can consider this good as a normal good, plus 6i and plus 0.2 0.02 ps as sufficient good. Sorry. And also two T as taste. Quantity of demand for X depends on or shows with this equation. Here, the sign is negative. Shows the negative relationship between price of a good and the quantity of demand. In fact, this negative sign shows the law of demand, represents the law of demand. Here, the sign is positive. There's a positive relationship between personal income and the quantity of demand for that good. It means when the income increases, the quantity demanded also will increase. So this good, the good X, is normal good. And the sign for the good S and X is positive. What does it mean? It means these two goods, S and X, are sufficient goods and services. Because when the price of X goes up, we will buy much more of X. Because now S is expensive, we move to buy much more of the good X. And taste has a positive relationship has a positive sign, so there is a positive relationship between taste and the quantity of demand. Now we consider income is for example, I equals to 30. And PS equals to, for example, 100. And T equals to 5. So demand equation for x equals to minus 20 px plus 6I 13 plus 0.02 ps 100 plus 2 multiplied by 5. So quantity demand for x equals to minus 20 px plus 118 plus 2 plus 10. Quantity demand for x equals to minus 20 px plus 192. Y-axis px and x-axis qx. Okay. As I said already, the best way to graph this curve is finding the intercepts. Px intercept, we consider quantity of demand for x0 equals to minus 20 px plus 192. Then adding 120 px on two sides, adding this two sides, we will have 20 px equals to 192 divided by 20, px equals to 96. Sure, 96. And for intercept for x-axis, we consider quantity of demand. Price of it equals to 0 minus 20, 0 plus 90 equals quantity demanded for x. So quantity demanded is 192. We connect these 2 points. This is demand curve. Unfortunately, I moved the primary equation. We discussed about the shifting in the last session. Lots of love to you.